What the fuck happened to Idubbbz and H3h3? Have they just completely sold out? Once creators who were seen as the people's champ are now celebrating Leafy's ban. H3h3 is showing some celebratory montage being completely dishonest to his audience.
The only thing that surprised me is that YouTube didn't ban him sooner. And I've seen a lot of people saying in defense of Leafy that he should have got a warning first. Is one thing I keep hearing.
I had one, I think, warning, but I had no strikes besides that. So, yeah, it was super random, dude.
What do you think a warning means? That doesn't sound like it was random at all.
Why would he say that? This is just so misleading to all the people who don't know how the YouTube strike system works. Warnings are a one-time thing YouTube gives your channel when you have never received a strike before. You get one warning, which is permanent to your channel, and then 3 strikes, which expire over time. The warning Leafy received doesn't mean that YouTube fairly took him through the strike system. They skipped it, which is why people say it's random. Ethan knows that. He's just trying to justify Leafy's termination.
Do you think it's ironic that Leafy was using our, like, the content nuke template that we used on Keemstar?
I think it's ironic and not cool to steal our original idea.
Right.
Bro, this shit's so petty and dumb. H3 memes everyone else, but when you meme him, it's uncreative and stealing. This is why nobody feels bad for you over your Teddy Fresh sweater. And Idubbbz disappoints me so hard. Once the guy out here making the common sense argument, pushing the boundaries of comedy. He's now going on a podcast saying, oh well, Leafy's gone, bye-bye.
It's not like what people say, I think, with the whole slippery slope thing, or it sets a scary precedent. It's like, it's not a scary precedent. It's exactly what's expected. It's gonna keep happening.
I can't believe that Idubbbz, once a huge advocate for freedom of speech and creative freedom on this website.
Your style is very anti-PC. Is that by intention, or are you just expressing yourself?
It is by intention. I really don't like being limited. I'm a big fan of freedom of speech.
He's done a complete 180. He's come and squeezed all the money and relevance out of our genre and then has walked out. I think that Boogie and Bella Delphine have defended us more than Idubbbz. It's fucking criminal.
If you want to continue to make that content and or support that content, just fuck it. Like, if you think there's actually an audience for it, you have to go on Patreon or Gumroad or one of these websites that'll allow you to make it.
Idubbbz built his career off this, so seeing him completely abandon this community, it looks so bad. Oh, just go somewhere else. I wonder why Idubbbz hasn't just gone somewhere else instead of counting fucking peanuts or chasing squirrels. Oh, guys, duh, the answer's right in front of us. We just gotta leave. We just gotta go somewhere else. Let's go to the other video sharing website with billions of users and a Google optimized search engine. Yeah, like that exists. It's like wanting to be a rock star, and instead of moving to Nashville or LA, we decide to play in our basement and hope that people walking down the street hear us. I don't even need to make this argument because Idubbbz has made it himself.
Quick little disclaimer to any of the commenters who wanted to comment some dumb shit like, Idubbbz, Apple can sell whatever they want. They're their own business. Yeah, no shit, you dumb motherfucker. I know that. This is an opinion thing. I'm giving you my opinion. I don't think that they should get rid of that game on their platform. Okay? So don't give me this bullshit like,
if you want to continue to make that content and or support that content, go on Patreon or Gumroad or one of these websites.
Yeah, no fucking shit. You dumb fucking retard. Kill yourself.
This is in the context of a game being banned off the Apple Store and how ridiculous and hypocritical it was. But if Apple doesn't like your game, you can still sell it on Android or Steam or Good Old Games. There's a million other outlets with huge market shares for you to go sell your game on. When it comes to these social media sites that each monopolize their specific niche, there really isn't anywhere else to go. You get kicked off, you're done. Career's over. In commentary, we've always kind of hated each other, but at the end of the day, I thought we all agreed that this was just one big meme. When you boil it down, we're all just a bunch of neckbeards and dorks giving our opinions on the internet. There was this sense of community that when we were threatened, we'd come together and take a stand, win or lose. When H3h3 was sued by Matt Haas over fair use, we saw guys like Leafy and Keem step up and donate money to his fund, because it was in everybody's best interest that he wins that case. When the Wall Street Journal attacked PewDiePie for making edgy jokes on Fiverr, the community rallied to his defense. And did it work out in the end? No. Demonetization still took over. Edgy content became less viable. That's one where we lost.
It's a little too great.
But we at least had the balls to say something. The biggest creator still spoke out against it. Look, like Leafy or not, he should have gone through the full strike system before getting terminated. This should be a common sense issue that would benefit every creator. I mean, everyone should go through the full process before losing their livelihood. Instead, you got all these big brains on Twitter celebrating, making arguments that are probably untrue. Today, I want to talk about this very obvious thing that's happening that nobody seems to see but me.
It's not like what people say, I think, with the whole slippery slope thing, or it sets a scary precedent. It's like, it's not a scary precedent. It's exactly what's expected.
We should all be worried because all of us can be
Next.
All of us could be next now that YouTube's banned Leafy.
Ah, yes, that slippery slope thing. That's apparently a really bad argument. If you're a guy like AsmondGold, you turn around and you say, but Willy, that's a slippery slope. You do realize that a slippery slope is a logical fallacy. Okay. This logical fallacy occurs when someone argues without providing adequate evidence that a certain action or proposition will lead to an undesirable outcome via a series of events. So I thought it would be interesting to actually go through the years and see just how slippery this slope is. 2016, Leafy was at the peak of his career finding these weird, obscure characters on YouTube.
Hi, Leafy. Well, you know, I'm so excited to make this video.
What the fuck? Why does he have a fucking trash bag on his head?
It was a beautiful time. One of the characters Leafy found was this racist 15-year-old girl who was singing happy birthday to Hitler.
Happy birthday to you.
Leafy, after making 2 videos on her, really made this story go mainstream, and YouTube took action by terminating her channel. But surprisingly, it was kind of a bittersweet moment. Creators didn't rejoice over her termination. Leafy, who very much led the charge in exposing her, tweeted, "So Avalion just got her channel taken down. As I don't agree with what she uploads, it's fucking bullshit. I'm gonna try and get it back."
She was being racist, and she was being a complete fucking cunt. And obviously it's YouTube's decision on what content they want on YouTube, and what content they don't want. But it's one of those things that I believe that YouTube should be an open platform, that anybody should be able to come on YouTube and talk about whatever topic they want to talk about, despite how stupid and despite how wrong. Because many people would argue that they'd rather see a hate video every now and then on YouTube at the cost of less censorship than no hate videos at the cost of censorship.
I agree. It's social media. It's about sharing your opinions and who you are. If your take is fucked, you're going to be shunned just like she was. She didn't need to be terminated. And that wasn't seen as Leafy giving a base take. That was the mindset back in the day. If people were going to be openly racist or crazy, you could just point and make fun of them. You took away their power. Now I feel like we give these guys such a false level of validation by silencing them. You make them feel like they were saying something worth paying attention to. Racists should be seen as irrelevant, as losers, as jokes. Nothing more. I mean, look how guys like Alex Jones have branded their termination.
What country have we turned into where the New York Times, the Washington Post, and CNN openly lobby to take me off every platform and openly lobby that anyone that talks about Alex Jones in a positive way will then also be blacklisted off the internet?
On the other side of that, you now encourage these grifters to make entire Twitter accounts accusing innocent people of being racist or homophobic, even though they're just making obvious jokes. Anything for followers, dude. 2017, early 2018, Logan Paul uploaded a video filming a dead body in the infamous suicide forest of Japan. I don't want to undersell how messed up his actions were, and I also don't want to blame the people who are outraged by what he did. However, there were a lot of creators that realized that views in Logan Paul exposed videos were going through the roof. So everything he did was as bad as him filming a dead body. It was outrage porn.
But people also started watching Logan's older videos and noticed a continuous pattern.
Oh shit, did he film 2 people hanging themselves?
I didn't edit that to make him look bad. He edited that. That was
No shit, retard. That was the intended joke.
Logan Paul obviously going through this controversy of him in the suicide forest. He takes a break. He comes back to YouTube. Everyone's saying he's changed. But since he's been back, he's had some fuck-ups. On February 5th, he tweeted out, swallowing 1 Tide Pod per retweet.
Okay, man.
If you look behind me, this is where you throw coins into the well. You make a wish and they come true. What are you gonna wish for? I wish for health, happiness, and hella bitches. There you go.
So he's at a temple, which is a religious site where everyone's quiet and respectful. Everyone's all quietly praying and being respectful. Kobe! I'm so happy I got kicked out of this holy site for being so obnoxious. I'm going to put in the thumbnail. I'm so proud of it.
Now, if that upsets you, that's fine, but this is blatantly hypocritical and contradicting behavior coming from these guys. All of them have uploaded controversial, obnoxious content in the past. Ethan went to Jerusalem, went up to the sacred Wailing Wall, and acted plenty obnoxious for a YouTube video. Oh, and he also had this to say about Orthodox Jews.
Home of the Jew. The Jewy Jew, not just this Jew like, me or Ela. But this is home of the super Jew, the dirty, grimy, jacket-wearing Jews.
Obviously, he's just being silly and goofing around, but it's so hypocritical that Logan Paul's biggest critics of 2018 are simultaneously Filthy Frank's biggest supporters, even though he did the same sort of pranks in Japan as well.
I got my squid leg, I got a fish. Hey guys, you want some fish?
And when he's done assaulting people with raw seafood, what does he do? Leaves it on some poor sons of bitches taxi cab and waltz off into the sunset. It's beyond reckless.
This is assaulting people? Like, come on, dude. Meanwhile, on Filthy Frank's channel.
Yes! Yes!
Like, George is one of the sweetest, fucking most genuine guys.
Yeah.
And he's a huge boon to helping us. And I'd suck his dick. I have. And I would again.
When he's done assaulting people, it's beyond reckless. It's so obnoxious. It's like so obnoxious.
Like, George is one of the sweetest, fucking most genuine guys.
Yo, legally speaking, I feel like Frank is a lot closer to qualifying as assaulting someone here than Logan Paul. There's such an obvious double standard. Why? Because the Logan Paul money train's fucking rolling, baby! Well, with everyone against him, YouTube broke and took away Logan Paul's ads again. Not for filming a dead body, but for a recent pattern of behavior. Wonder where they got that from.
People also started watching Logan's older videos and noticed a continuous pattern.
H3h3 said on Twitter, it was clear that Logan Paul hadn't changed at all and was making a mockery of YouTube. Great job, Team YouTube, delivering swift and deserved justice, sacrificing their golden boy for the good of mankind. Also got him. Again, this is separate from the suicide forest. This is from a recent pattern of behavior. Like, what the fuck? Are we gatekeeping comedy here? Sorry, Logan Paul. You're not allowed in the cool, edgy commentators club. That's only for us. Filthy Frank cooks dead baby rats. Hilarious. Logan Paul tases an already dead rat. Morbid. Max Mofo fucks around with a dead fish. Pushing the boundaries of comedy. Logan fakes giving CPR to one. Let's celebrate his ads being taken away. This marks the first time that YouTube has ever been unanimously praised for taking direct action against another creator. It's oddly poetic that commentators who pride themselves on being the voice of reason and edgy comedy damned Logan Paul to cash in on the money train, only to have their own channels hurt the most in the end due to YouTube's responding policies. Unlucky, dude. And in turn, I believe this had two major effects. One, YouTube taking direct action meant that they were owning responsibility for what was uploaded to their website. They were now viewing themselves as a publisher. Just look how Philly D blames YouTube for what Logan did.
That you had the video trending, top trending on YouTube, that you acted accordingly in waiting about a day and several million views of people watching this dead person in the video and the thumbnail. Just own the mistake. Just own the fucking mistake. I hate defending you because I'm like, YouTube's trying, they're good, and then you get this fucking softball. You get this softball of a singular, easy to handle situation, and then you're like, we did everything accordingly. Shut, really? God. You're so stupid.
And two, YouTube getting praised by creators for an unorthodox punishment that avoided the 3-strike system gave the site a full license to punish whoever they think is out of line, whether it was explicitly against the rules or not. They went from hands off to a tight ass leash real quick. Slippery slope, there's two for you. 2018, August, 7 months later, Alex Jones, big conspiracy channel on YouTube, was terminated for questioning the Sandy Hook shooting. At least that's what we think. This was the first time we've seen a creator skip the 3-strike process and go straight to termination. He's a fat idiot, but this unsurprisingly worried a lot of creators. Now we're going after conspiracy videos. Where is this line going to be drawn? Is banning conspiracy content reasonable, especially since nobody took this guy seriously.
Arrest the reporters that expose we're keeping babies alive, eat the hospitals with their bodies, have the Pepsi taste testing systems be based on fetal tissue, all demonic systems, genetically engineer all the crops, overthrow creation, more blood. That's Hillary.
I feel like ChrisRayGun had the most nuanced take on this subject.
A lot of people are concerned about the slippery slope this potentially sets up, because if Alex Jones gets banned for reasons that they can't even really cite directly, why can't you? And while I do think that leans a little bit on, paranoia, it's not that unreasonable a concern. When you ban an extreme like Alex Jones, you essentially kind of bring the extreme in a little bit. Because when Alex Jones is gone, the new extreme that takes its place will logically be a little bit closer to the center. Not like drastically, not like fucking centrist level, but like maybe just like a little bit, just like a hair closer to the center than, Alex Jones is. And then maybe you have people asking the question, well, why is that person allowed on the platform? And then it gets brought in again, and then 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 again.
And then what do you know? The new extreme could just be some edgy comedian.
While I do think that leans a little bit on paranoia.
December 2018, Monkey Jones was kicked off of YouTube. 3 strikes in less than a day, one of which was on a privated video. When this first happened, I was confused. How can you get a strike on a video that nobody can see? Well, my guess now is that this comes back around to Logan Paul. People were pissed that he never received a strike for his Suicide Forest video. He didn't receive a strike because he deleted his own video in less than a day. If you're YouTube, does it make sense to strike a video that nobody can see? If the strike system is meant to correct creators' actions and they do it themselves, is it still worth punishing? Well, according to the hate mob that targeted Logan Paul a year prior, yes, strike that privated video.
The channel violated our guidelines, we acted accordingly, and we are looking at further consequences. What are you talking about? YouTube, what kind of revisionist history bullshit is that? The channel violated your guidelines, you acted accordingly. When you say you acted accordingly, do you mean that you had the video trending, top trending on YouTube, that you acted accordingly in waiting about a day?
Bro, YouTube acted in less than 24 hours. That's reasonably quick for a company of their size.
YouTube needs to take action, because any other YouTuber doing this, would it be banned? Would be striked?
I appreciate the confidence Cabos has when he says this, but there's a reason he doesn't cite a single example. The reality was, back then, YouTube took a pretty hands-off approach when moderating their website. They couldn't get rid of a literal Nazi without people raising eyebrows. But now you're getting rid of Monkey Jones, a comedian. The video strike was one parodying the ridiculous children's Kickstarter movie titled Cool Cat Stops a School Shooting, and the other 2 videos of him were making fun of an incel who murdered 6 people because he couldn't get laid. Now you might say, hey, at least he went through the strike system, but do you really go through the strike system if you receive all 3 at the same time? How can you fix anything if they hit you all at once? It's not really a warning shot if they shoot you in the back of the head. Like, what the fuck? We can't make fun of criminals now? Are we worried about their feelings too? The dude determined whether or not he would kill someone based off of a lottery ticket. I'm sorry, you should be able to make those jokes. The dude's a loser. Let's check up on that slippery slope again. Wow, that's a lot of bodies piling up down there. I wonder how that definition read again. This logical fallacy occurs when someone argues without providing adequate evidence that a certain action or proposition, in this case YouTube censoring users' opinions and content, will lead to an undesirable outcome via a series of events. 2016, Nazi girl gets axed. Pretty big uproar, controversial decision. 2018, January, Logan Paul loses his ads twice. Once for the Suicide Forest, the second time based purely off of outrage due to some of his jokes. YouTube is praised. They have now been given the keys to punish any creator if there's enough complaints about them, legitimate or not. 2018, August. Alex Jones is kicked off of YouTube for his Sandy Hook conspiracy theory. There was no rules against conspiracy theories on YouTube at the time. So fuck it, label it as child endangerment and hate speech and call it a day. Is this slippery slope still a fallacy for you, Idubbbz, Asmond? Do I have to spell it out for you? 2018, December. Monkey Jones, a comedian, was kicked off of YouTube for making some edgy jokes, parodying a Kickstarter movie. Literally the definition of parody. It's like pushing a a snowball down a hill, it starts off small, but once it gets rolling, it gets bigger and bigger. It keeps going. February 2019. YouTube removes comments from family vlogging channels because the comments could be inappropriate for videos featuring kids. The fucking comments. Yes, so now people in your comments can get you in trouble. The fuck? March 2019. TVN, a Filthy Frank S channel, was terminated because they thought he was under 18. He was 21. I saw his ID, but they just went by how he looked. So get fucked, nerd. But Willie, YouTube's a private company. They could do what they want. Shut the fuck up. July 2019. Busy year. Filthy Frank fan account that I actually reviewed was terminated. No strikes, instant termination for content that is no more or less offensive than Filthy Frank's. December 2019. For fuck's sake, will this year end? Content Cop Leafy, Content Vigilante, and Leafy's response to the Content Cop were all removed from YouTube. All historic videos. I mean, what is this? This is like a modern day book burning. These were huge moments on YouTube where we were discussing ideas, content, and being entertaining while we did it. This was peak commentary, but it doesn't stop there. 2020, Susie Liu, videos about her start getting struck down, but not for copyright. It's because the word forehead was off limits. Yes, if you mentioned her forehead or the word forehead, your video would go down. I mean, how ridiculous does this have to get? John Swan legitimately had to censor the word in his videos. H3h3, I never thought he'd become such a villain, has had YouTube act in his favor more than once. The conspiracy theory is that he's taking down videos that are critical of him. I personally think conspiracy theories are generally bullshit and pretty unproductive, so let's just stick to the facts. He made a critical video on Keemstar, outrage ensued, Keemstar loses advertising for 2 weeks. Why? Because people were pissed at Keem. Keem didn't do anything new that was wrong, it was this same old shit. So why should he lose 2 weeks of income just because people who don't watch him don't like him? Then there's channels like Nelk who have been kicked from the ad program for stuff they did outside of YouTube. YouTube is now viewing your other social medias to see if you're a good person or not. Is that really what YouTube's place as a social media platform should be? To monitor what you're doing on all your social medias? How's that slippery slope fallacy looking now? There's a lot of bodies at the bottom of that slope. In fact, I think it's bigger than the slope itself. Honestly, I'm not sure if Keem knows who I am. I haven't liked a lot of the shit he's done in the past, but the dude has always had our genres back. Feels like he's the only big creator who cares at all about our community. Our latest victim to YouTube's reign of terror is none other than Leafy is here, 5 million subscribers. The dude was blunt, he made jokes, and it didn't matter if it was the popular opinion or not. The dude said what he thought. That's the perfect commentator to me. Leafy was terminated pretty much out of the blue. There was no strikes given, no videos cited, just straight up said for harassment. It's so wild and insanely heartless to do someone like that. It's like getting fired from your job and never knowing why. What I find funny is if you check Twitter, everyone seems to know why Leafy got terminated besides Leafy. AsmondGold says, hopefully the Leafy ban is only the beginning of YouTube taking action on channels whose content is primarily at the expense of others. Harassment veiled as criticism. Well, that opens the can of worms as what qualifies as harassment. When did Leafy take it too far? He didn't. Asmond says, I think if you use someone's appearance as part of your criticism, it's harassment. I will ignore this half of the tweet because he later clarifies that the misinformation section has nothing to do with Leafy. So what did Leafy say that was so bad about her looks?
Pokimane isn't even attractive. There's really no other way of saying it, she's just not hot, dude. At least with the titty streamers, a lot of them are hot. Pokimane really doesn't have that going for her so much. I'm thinking 3 out of 10. If not, actually Keemstar probably had it right.
Dude, that's it. That's some kindergarten shit. Leafy's own peers have thrown him to the wolves. Everyone's down with sharing opinions on social media until it's one you don't like. If the president of the United States can have his hands, face, voice, hair, the color of his skin made fun of by these talk show hosts, surely you could say Pokimane's a 3 out of 10. Nobody should be above mockery. It's an important part of bringing these big influential personalities down to your level. It's what made videos like the Leafy Content Cop so effective. Then you have guys like ChrisRayGun, who's kind of agreeing that YouTube should ban Leafy. He says, I'm not gonna cry for Leafy, but I feel like he should have gotten a strike or warning or something. Okay, yeah, I agree. Anyone who isn't 10 years old could tell his persistent Pokimane stuff broke community guidelines. Oh shit, well if it's that obvious for why he got banned, Chris, please tell us, what do you know that we don't? I'd argue the sheer volume of content about the same person reads as obsessive, and that using her likeness in the thumbnails that don't have anything to do with her is objectively clickbait and false advertising. Consider me 10 years old then, because I'm still really confused when reading this. To give some background, Leafy made 12 videos on Pokimane, only 3 of which talked about her. The other videos were just clickbaiting her to talk about the stock market, Leafy is a big stocks guy. Leafy only put her name in the title because it became an inside joke on his channel that he was milking the drama for views. So yes, you could argue that Leafy broke clickbaiting rules on YouTube, but he'd also be the only person to ever lose his channel over it. Chris says Leafy's videos read as obsessive. Well, Chris, maybe you're just a bad reader. Let's get real. We're now trying to argue that the title of your video can be considered harassment. We're just reaching so hard now, dude. How did this guy manage to defend Alex Jones more passionately than Leafy? Alex Jones sets a cause for concern, but somehow Leafy doesn't. Anyone who isn't 10 years old could tell that Leafy's persistent Pokimane stuff broke community guidelines. That's just not true. YouTube's rules are purposely left vague so they can apply to any situation if you want them to. Content that features prolonged name-calling or malicious insults, such as racial slurs, based on intrinsic attributes.
Pokimane isn't even attractive. I'm thinking 3 out of 10.
Is that really the same thing? These rules suck. They run this site like a fucking preschool. If those are the rules, then the entire commentary genre needs to be banned.
Dude, Coachella versus open casket funeral.
Oh, looks like a Twinkie. You sick motherfucker. I don't want it.
I got you some ice cream.
These are some of the most iconic commentary videos of all time. These videos include making fun of people's weight.
She looks like a Twinkie.
Encouraging people to harm themselves.
I'm smarter than you. You can't think before you speak. But I think this will be the first time I actually say it unironically and mean it. Kill yourself.
And even disabilities.
Now we're ready to take this bad boy for a spin. It's not really easy to look at, isn't it?
The fact is, Leafy didn't get banned for breaking community guidelines. YouTube just didn't like Leafy. Commentary on the surface is a pretty fucked up genre. We're disgusting, we're weird, we make inappropriate jokes, and we hurt people's feelings. But with that, we also managed to talk about really tricky, sensitive topics in an open and digestible way. We're willing to tell the blunt, honest truth, no matter how painful, and I think there's value in that. Do we over-dramatize the N-word? Does crying make you innocent? Do you need proof before you make a life-changing allegation? Some of those may seem obvious enough, but we wouldn't have found the lies and hypocrisies in many of these stories if commentators didn't get involved. The slippery slope is so obvious on YouTube, and I feel personally insulted when creators pretend like it doesn't exist. It bothers me. It really does, because this is a site that brags about its diversity and being brave. Diversity of color, sexuality. But it's diversity that only runs skin deep when it comes to the tough questions being asked, real debates, people's opinions, jokes, identities, everything that made this site great. YouTube doesn't really want it. Diversity my ass. If YouTube had it their way, we'd all be family-friendly vloggers. None of this is brave content. Brave content is shit that offends people. Shit that takes risks. Idubbbz, one of the most innovative and creative people on this site, has completely sold out. Count your fucking peanuts. And H3 has just sat by, watched, cheered for it, and seems to be happy that it's here. Timestamp this, please. Timestamp this, because I know there's gonna be that one retard saying, but Willy, they're a private company. They could do whatever they want.
Yeah, no fucking shit. You dumb fucking retard. Kill yourself.
It's important to note that social media is monopolized, each site with its own niche. That's why there's only one Twitter, one Facebook, one YouTube. So can they legally kick you off? Obviously. But the question is, should they? Is it right that billionaires control today's speech? So is it over? Are we fucked? Maybe, but our only chance to fight it is to speak up. Petition to remove Section 230 so these websites aren't invincible. I'd rather be the guy to say something and have nothing happen than to say nothing and watch as everything gets taken away. Till next time.
Here's to the rubble. A breakthrough every window. A casket buried 6 feet deep for everybody's heroes. Here's to our lives being meaningless. And how beautiful it is. Because freedom doesn't have a purpose.